every heartbreak, every circumstance. I believe that you are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are. Every blessing, every promise, every breath I take, I believe you are protector, you are the one I love. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. Meet me here today, mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true. 'Cause I can't stay long, and I'm here with you. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. Meet me here today, mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true. Can't stay long. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are. All right.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you. Oh, we'll live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show with your heart and lead me to the love of those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We'll live for you, oh, we'll live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me to the love of those around me. And I will build my life upon your love. It is the firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me to the love of those around me. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those restore in me the joy of my salvation. Take me back to where it all began, where all I ever wanted was your presence. How I long to be there once again. Light a fire that the world can burn out, fan the flame till nothing between us remains. My life is an altar to you. Breathe again on the embers that burn in my heart. My love taken back to the start. My life is an altar to you. Renew in me a pure and willing spirit. Take me back to where it all began,
is an altar to you. Light a fire that the world can't burn out, fan the flame. Nothing between us remains. My life is an altar to you. Breathe again on the embers that burn in my heart. The love taken back to the start. My life is an altar to you. God, I'm sorry. Please forgive me for when I've gone cold. Lord, I need you. How I need you to awake my soul.
Let's pray together this morning. God, we are so thankful to be in this place, to come together and to worship you. We thank you for just the beautiful sun that we have outside and just the reminder of the warmth of your goodness and your mercy in our hearts. God, I just pray that today, as we conclude this 9 Colorful Teaching series, as we make this transition, as we enter a school year, God, that you would just continue to show us your grace and your love. Through the way that we interact with each other, through the way that we interact with this world. It's your name that we pray. Amen. Well, you guys can have a seat, and we're going to go ahead and just jump right on into this teaching today. I made a little bit of a switch up on this, and I was going to conclude with a totally different story. One of my goals during this series was that as we did this, we would talk about stories that we're less likely to talk about over the next few years as we go into the lectionary. And I've talked about the lectionary before. The lectionary is a selection of teachings that sort of, it runs over a course of 3 years, and churches all around the world follow the lectionary. And not every church, but a lot of churches do. And so this next year starts what's called year A, and then obviously it goes to year B, and then it goes to year 3. No, it goes to year C. So it goes A, B, and C, and it follows that order, and there's a selection of readings throughout that sort of keep us in, kind of into the story and into some specific readings that a lot of people are doing. So as I did this series, I thought, well, since we're going into years A, B, and C starting in November and going into those years, I thought it would make sense to sort of look at these stories that maybe we haven't done. But then as I was getting ready this week, this story just kind of popped up, and I looked at it and I thought, you know, I think I want to do this instead. I want to focus on this story. So we were going to do a story that is about Paul's shipwreck, and where he finds himself on an island. It sort of had some connections to the story of Jonah, but as I looked at it more and more, I felt like this story about Nehemiah that we're going to look at today was a better end both to our colorful teachings and a better beginning as we enter a new season, as we look at the school year coming up. And you're going to see that as we go through it, because this is probably, honestly, one of the most practical teachings. And I try every week to have a practical teaching. I think the love of Jesus is incredibly practical. I think his grace and his mercy and his compassion is incredibly practical. But you'll notice in this teaching that things are going to look a little bit different as we talk through it. You're going to want to make sure that you do have one of the coloring sheets. If you haven't had a chance yet, warm up your coffee, maybe grab some crayons. You'll have another chance to do that in a little bit, I promise. But you will want something to write with. Your phone is fine too, maybe a notes app or something like that. as we get to that point in just a little bit. But the reason this teaching really grabbed onto me, I think, for this week and why I wanted to talk about this particular story is that for many of our students who are with us today, and hasn't it been awesome having our kids with us all summer? I have loved, yeah, let's do that. I have loved having our kids that are coloring over here on the tables. I have a feeling that some of this stuff, you sort of create culture and it just continues. And I have this feeling we're going to sort of see our kids gravitate towards there and continue to have this little space that they're hanging out in. I don't know about you, but I love it. And when we get a permanent space someday, it's not an if, it's a when we do. We're going to have a little space like this, little high-top tables or little tables, something people can sit at, because I just think it adds such a cool feel to it. So anyways, a lot of our students, a lot of them that are over there today, a brand new school year is right around the corner for them. Now, last week, we got a little depressed about that. We got a little down, and everybody was kind of booing because it's the end of summer, and I get it. For some of us, we're booing the awful reality, which is that we no longer have the summer that lasts from Memorial Day till Labor Day. And we can be sad about that. We can vote for different people. Maybe they'll change the way that we do things. Or maybe we should keep summer the way it is so that kids can remember things better as they go into the next school year. Whatever we do, we know that this is sort of the way things are. But there is also another way that we can take transitions like this. Because I think what it is some of us, honestly, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves, we all want routine back. I had a couple days last week where the house was quiet. It was just me, my computer, and my cat. And it was so just routine again. And I was sort of thinking back to those days that, I let help the girls get out the door, and then the other one gets onto the bus, and they head on their way. And I've got that period of time to really get a lot of work done. And I think for some of us, we're sort of excited about that routine, getting back in the flow of things. But change is hard. And so as we look at it, we kind of go, I don't really want summer to end. And where did it go? And part of the reason for that, a big reason for that, is that as you get into that transition time, as you begin to think about the next season coming up, one of the things you do is you go, where did the summer go? And then it's not just where did the summer go, it's where did the time go? And then I had a list of things that I wanted to get done. You had your fun list, let's be honest, you had our fun list over here. And your fun list was all those places you wanted to go to, all those things you wanted to see, all those exciting opportunities that you had around you. And then you had another list of things that you weren't so excited about, like painting the shed, painting the deck. I'm just telling you all the things that I didn't do. That are on painting. It's a lot of painting, painting the porch, like all these things that I wanted to get done. I mean, I remember looking at Jill at the beginning of the summer, and I said, this is going to be so great. You know what I'll do? I'll get up early in the morning. I'll work in the morning. You guys will get up, and then we'll spend the afternoon. We'll go to like the pool, or we'll go do something fun, and then we'll come back and we'll hang out again. We'll keep the pool open. All our friends will come over. Oh, it'll just be a summer of like over and over, just constant fun and excitement. And then we looked and said, where did it go? And then I looked at the deck and I went, why aren't you painted? And I looked at the porch and I went, why are you still unpainted? And I'm looking around going, we didn't do anything that we thought that we would get to do. Well, here's the good news. And this is the good news about all of this, is that these moments, and you could do this anytime, just so you're aware, you could reprioritize anytime you want. You could reset your life anytime you want. You could refocus your life anytime you want. You don't need me to tell you that, and you don't need a transition in life to tell you that, right? But there is something powerful when we come together as a community and we look at each other and we admit that there's a change in the season. And we look at each other and say, all right, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to reprioritize. I am going to refocus. And I am going to restart some things. I have thought a lot about what is going on, and I am going to get to that next place where I get things done on my list that I wanted to get done. Hey, before I go any further, I just realized that I'm not saying this because Ellie is the cutest thing of all time. We do have nursery set up if any of our small ones do want to go to nursery, and I know that Emily would be more than thrilled to hang out with little ones if they do want to go that way. So I wanted to say that just in case anybody does want to go. Adults, if you could stay in here instead of going to play with blocks, I would appreciate that. But if our small ones do want to join Emily, just go grab her and she can take them to the nursery. So I wanted to say that. But either way, I want to make sure Ellie knows you are not a distraction. I love your little voice. You keep talking. Please do, okay? So anyway, so if you haven't made any goals, if you have nothing to restart, if you have nothing to look at, you say, oh, well, I didn't have anything I wanted to get done this summer. Good for you, but now is the time. Now is a good time to think about those things I want to get done. Now is the time to think about the stuff that you want to do. But then I also have some bad news that's going to go along with this good news. And that is this. Research shows us that 92% of goals go unmet. Isn't that wonderful news? So now I know that my list of 100 things to do, I shouldn't feel bad that 92 didn't get done because I'm just average. That's fantastic. So if you got 9 things done this year, you are above average. Good for you. Give yourself a round of applause. And next time, maybe when you get to summer, you won't make a big list of goals to do. You'll say, my goal for the summer is to veg out and sit by Ryan's pool and drink martinis and sit by the water. That sounds like a great plan to me for next summer, 100%. And you can make that goal. But here's the deal. If we're going to beat the odds, if we're going to say, I really have some things I need to get done, and I really have some things I need to focus on, and maybe those things are bigger than painting a porch. Maybe those things are way bigger than getting a deck finished. Maybe you've got some things that you said, I really need to do. I got to get some stuff in order. If we're going to beat the odds, we're going to need some help doing it. And that's why this really, really practical story helps us to do that. And I love what this story has to teach us. So let's start with every coloring story that we've done so far. We're going to start with a once upon a time. And we're going to lean into the story aspect of this story we find in Scripture. And this is how it begins. Once upon a time, there was a man named Nehemiah who lived far away from his homeland in a big palace where he had an important job serving a king. But even though Nehemiah lived in a beautiful palace with everything he could want, he was sad. You see, his people had been taken away from their city called Jerusalem many years before. Their beautiful city walls had been knocked down, and the gates had been burned with fire. So one day, Nehemiah's brother came to visit him with some friends. How are our people doing back in Jerusalem? Nehemiah asked. Oh, Nehemiah, his brother said sadly, the people are in trouble. The walls around the city are still broken into pieces, and the gates are still burned. Everyone feels scared, and everyone feels unprotected. When Nehemiah heard this terrible news, he sat down and he cried. He felt so sorry for his people. For many days, he didn't eat much, and he prayed to God with all of his heart. God, he prayed, please help my people. Please help me to find a way to make things better for them. One day when Nehemiah was serving the king his drink, the king noticed something different. Nehemiah, the king said, why do you look so sad today? Are you sick? Nehemiah's hands started to shake a little bit. He was super nervous. What if the king got angry? But Nehemiah took a deep breath, and he told the king the truth. Your Majesty, he said, my heart is sad because the city where my family comes from is broken. The walls are smashed, the gates are burned. My people need help to rebuild their home. The king looked at Nehemiah and asked, well, what would you like me to do? Nehemiah's heart jumped with hope. If it pleases you, Your Majesty, could you send me to Jerusalem to help rebuild the walls? The king smiled and said, yes, Nehemiah, I will help you because you have been so faithful to me. So the king gave Nehemiah special letters and even sent soldiers to protect him on his journey to Jerusalem. When Nehemiah finally arrived in Jerusalem, he was excited but was also worried. The job seemed so big. How could they rebuild everything? So at night, while everyone was sleeping, Nehemiah rode his horse quietly around the cities. The walls were even more damaged than he had imagined. There were piles of stone everywhere. The gates were completely gone. But Nehemiah had a plan. The next day, he gathered all the people together. "Look around," he said. "We are in trouble, and everyone can see it. But let's work together to rebuild." The people got excited. "Yes," they shouted. "Let's build." I want to take a pause here because I think there's something so cool about this. I've always loved, and I'm not the only one. There are a lot of books where people take Nehemiah and they look at his leadership. They look at what he does and they see it as a lesson for how we can be leaders in our jobs and in our communities and in the places we live and with our families. And I love that one of the things that Nehemiah does, and I think this is such a powerful lesson for all of us, no matter where we are, whether it's our families or whether it's in our community, whether it's in our jobs, whatever it is, I love that what he does is he gathers the people and he says, "Look around." So many times when there's a problem around us, the first thing we do is we duck our heads in the sand and we try to pretend that it's not there. We don't want anybody to know about it. We just try to keep it hidden away and think, well, that big problem will just sort of go away on its own if I don't pretend, if I just pretend that it's not there, right? That's one option. And the other option that you see with leadership and a lot of failed leadership is to then look at a problem and just turn it into a lot of blame. And it turns into blaming other people. It turns into blaming somebody else. He doesn't even, do you notice he doesn't even blame the people who tore down the walls? Look what these people have done to us. Oh, woe is me. Like, he doesn't even do that. He doesn't make anybody else the enemy. He simply says, look at the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Let's link our arms together. Let's join together. And let's make a difference together. I love the positivity of his leadership. We need that so much more in our world today. Is not negativity, but positive leadership that says we can make a change and we can make a difference if we would just link arms and do it. And I love it. He doesn't ignore the problem. He points it out. But he does it in such a way that all of the people look around and go, yes, let's do that. Everybody gets excited and says, let's build. So that's exactly what they did. And I want you to hear this because I love how this is written, because this shows what happens when you have that sort of leadership of calling people to doing something together. Families worked side by side. Just imagine it for a minute. I just love the picture that everybody goes, they were so upset, they were so frustrated, this is the way things are, and then they said, we can change it. And you can sort of see these families looking at each other and they're calling it to their neighbors, and the kids are going, we can help too, and so they all go and they start grabbing rocks, they start grabbing stones. And you can imagine some people went up and they grabbed the big, heavy stones and they carried those. Others probably went over and mixed cement. Some built gates. And I imagine the smaller kids, and I love it here because this is what our kids do. Do you ever see our kids when we can do tear down? That you'll see the kids and they'll grab the little carts and they'll grab the thing and they'll push everything out. And you see everybody, all ages, grabbing and being a part of it. Do you see that? And if anybody ever tried to stop one of our kids and say, no, we don't want you messing with that, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you, get out of the way. I want that kid to be involved. I want them to be a part of it because they're learning something amazing. They're learning to come alongside adults. They're learning to serve together, and they're becoming a part of something. Now, if they're carrying one of the big subs and one of the speakers and you're worried about their health, yes, but don't take away their job. And I love that that's what happens here. These kids are picking up rocks. They're bringing it over to their parents. They're saying, we're going to put this thing together. But some mean men didn't want the walls to be fixed. They tried to scare the builders. They even planned to attack them. They sat outside, they mocked the people, they made fun of them. Oh, you guys can't do this. Look at you. Who do you think you are? You guys can't make this. You don't have, it's not going to happen. Just don't even take the time. But then that didn't work. The people kept building. They had been motivated. They wanted to get things done. So these guys tried something else, which is probably one of the most powerful things that they could have done. They tried distraction. So these mean men sent messages to Nehemiah and said, "Come, meet with us in one of the villages. We just want to talk." But Nehemiah was wise. And he knew they didn't really want to talk. And rather than allowing them to distract him from his job, Nehemiah sent messengers to them saying, "I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it to come down to you?" Now, this is another one of the coolest things about Nehemiah. He could have said, "Everybody's doing a good job. I have time for lunch. I have time to go get some free Panera. I'll just go hang out with these guys. It'll be no problem. The rest of these people can do this work." Do you notice where Nehemiah is? He says, "I cannot come down." He's right along with them. He is standing beside the people who are doing the work. Nehemiah didn't have a special plane. He didn't have golf clubs. He didn't have a meal. He just had work to do. And he came alongside the people. And I just think this is such another great picture of leadership, is standing up beside other people and saying, "Let's do this." Now, that idea, that concept, that fits in every kind of leadership that you find yourselves in. That there's nothing better than at work. Is there anything worse than a manager who tells you to do something and wants nothing to do, unless they want way more to do with it and they start micromanaging, but you get what I'm saying, where they want nothing to be a part of actually making anything happen. They just want to watch you do it while they do their own thing. Well, in families, it's the same way. There's nothing worse than looking around and saying, "Guys, this house is a mess. Somebody pick it up." Now, guys, I want to tell you, I'm actually talking to myself here. This is a little confession time, that I might have done this. And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse in a family than sitting there and going, "Somebody needs to pick up this kitchen. Somebody needs to unload that dishwasher. It stinks in here." Do it. Do the work. Get off the couch. Make it happen. There's nothing more powerful than when somebody just stops and says, "I don't care what the job is. I'm going to help get it done." That is a powerful, powerful lesson all of us can learn. Well, for 4 times, these guys come to Nehemiah. 4 times they come and they try to distract him by saying, "Hey, just come off the ladder. Come down off the wall. Come hang out with us. Everything's going to be cool. We just want to talk." And each time they asked, Nehemiah would send back the same response to them: "I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down." I love that he doesn't take the bait. And he just keeps answering simple. It's just the same answer. "I'm doing a great work. I can't come down." "Well, Nehemiah, we just had this village. We want you to stop by. Just come down for a few minutes." "I'm doing a great work. I can't come down." "But Nehemiah, we wanted you to come. We want to talk to you about it. Maybe we can provide you some help." "I'm doing a great work. I can't come down." But Nehemiah don't you think you could just take just a minute away from what's happening? I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Well, day by day, stone by stone, every time Nehemiah responded, things were getting done, and the city walls and the gates were rebuilt. After only, and get this, the entire city of Jerusalem, after only 52 days, in 52 days, the final pieces of the city walls were set in place. This reminds me of, like, last night, we were leaving this concert at Everwise, and we're driving through town. We got to this point in the city, and we're just driving through, and I looked at Jill, and I go, where are we? What road are we on? And I looked around. Have you done this before, that you drive through the city, and you come through a part of the city that you absolutely do not recognize? I had this happen one time that I was driving through Fountain Square, and I was going from the Fountain, and I was going east from the Fountain on Prospect, and all of a sudden, there were like new apartments. And I hadn't been there for just a few months, and I was like, where did this come from? How did this happen? And it was literally like you just turned away for one moment, and all of a sudden it's about. That's what happens here. And I love that these guys are trying to distract Nehemiah. 52 days go by. They look, and they probably are riding by. They're getting ready to come up, try to distract him again. And they're like, when did this happen? How did this get done in 52 days? Well, the people obviously were going to celebrate. They couldn't believe that they actually had gotten this finished. So they celebrated, and they worshiped, and they sang together, and they partied. The end. Actually, it's not the end. There's a lot more after the end in the story. There's a lot of things that we could learn from this story that comes after the end that we're going to save for another time. Because there's a lot in there about what it looks like for those people to then rediscover their faith. They rediscovered their sense of community. They rediscovered what it looked like to be the people of God in the place where they were. So there's a ton that we can learn from that story. But the thing I want us to see today is just really simple. I want to see how Nehemiah's response can help all of us as we begin this new season of life and we start over these next few weeks. Because there's one thing that I know about you, and it's one thing that I know about you is true because I know it's one thing that I know about me that is true. I know that all of us have something big going on. All of us have something in our lives that we might be trying to bury our head in the sand about, or it might be something that we're working on that we're scared to tell everybody else about. It's something maybe we've been afraid to ask other people for help about. But we all have something in our lives that we know we have to do. We know that could be an opportunity that needs our attention. It could be a challenge that we're facing. Whatever it is, you have a great work that needs your attention. But the challenge that every single one of us is going to face is this. Will you climb the ladder? Will you stay on the ladder? And will you finish the work? And for some of us, that means picking up some new stones to put in place. For others of us, it means that we've recognized that there's some work that has been left undone in our lives. And for others of us, we realize that there are some breaches in the walls of our life that need to be patched. But for all of us, every single person sitting here, I know this is true, that Nehemiah's response will help us. I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Now, for some of us, again, today, that great work, it could be in your relationships. Maybe you've left unfinished work to be done when it comes to people in your life. Maybe you're walking around with a regret about things that went said. Maybe you've got some regrets about things that went unsaid. But either way, you know that it's time to repair the damage. And so you say, what can I do? How do I do this? For others today, you've let your finances look like a broken wall. and there is stuff going in and there is stuff going out, and you feel like you can't get control over that at all. Now, when I mention finances, I know that people automatically go, oh boy, here he goes. Confession time. I know there's some broken walls that I got to patch. Because I know there's some places I got stuff going in and out, and I'm going, I don't know where any of this is going. So I am with you. I know what it's like. We all get to that place that we go, how did I get here? And how did this happen? And so what I really want you to know is you're not alone. The reality is that it's true for me, it's true for you, it's true for our church, is that we've all got a responsibility to be good stewards of what we've been entrusted to manage in our lives. So it's time to step up on the ladder and address what needs to be done, including asking for help. One of the most powerful things that Nehemiah did is he didn't walk into the city with all of these soldiers. He didn't walk in and look around and say, I got it taken care of. Everybody step back. You all are going to be building a statue to Nehemiah soon. He didn't do that at all, did he? Did you notice that they don't even address the soldiers that go with him? Did they help? I don't know. What I do know is that he looked around the people who were in the place and said, I can't do this alone. I turned into we immediately. We have a job to do. We need to do this together. We can make this happen. He asks for help. And everybody learned from that in a way that they all began to ask for help. That's the only way that everybody could have gotten involved in this project. It's the only way that it could have happened because everybody was willing to say, I can't do this alone. Can you imagine the guy sitting on the mixer and he's trying to mix stuff? He's trying to put have you ever mixed concrete on your own? Have you ever done this? And you're trying to put the bag in, you're trying to do the water, you're mixing. You cannot do it alone. But somebody saw Nehemiah ask for help, which caused somebody else to look at their friend and say, hey, I can't do this alone. I can't do. And it was so cool to watch as they built this team together. There's probably 3 people over there. Somebody's putting in the mix. It's just awesome to see. You see this guy, he picks up a rock and he's going, and somebody looks over and lift with your legs, Bob, lift with your legs, right? And he's like, I can't. And he says, I need help. Somebody says, I'll help. They come over, they lift it together, and you can sort of see the scene, can't you? The guy looks, man, I could do this all day, right? That's what every guy says, right? After you get some help. I could do this all day. Well, you're going to be doing it all day. We got a whole city to build. And this is sort of the cool thing is all of a sudden he's asking for help. And this is why are we so bad at doing this? Why are we so bad at asking for help? When it comes to our relationships, when it comes to money, when it comes to our faith, especially, and that's the crazy thing, especially in a church. Why is it when it comes to our relationship with Jesus, we're afraid to ask somebody else for help? We're afraid to admit the questions we have, or we're afraid to have the doubts, or we're afraid of those moments. I don't understand, how did we get to this place where we're supposed to have it all figured out and have it all together? I love the idea that we walk in and we're willing to say, I can't do it by myself. I need some help. And a place where everybody goes, well, yeah, and so do I. So let's stop trying to do it alone. Wouldn't that be a healthy church? Wouldn't it be healthy if you walked into a place and you weren't afraid that somebody was going to judge you because of, oh, I don't have my finances together. Oh, shame on you. Why would we? I don't want to be in that place. I don't want to be in a place where I go, hey, things are a mess right now. I'm a mess. Somebody looks at you and goes, well, get it together, and then you can come back to church. What? What kind of church would that? What a stupid place. I don't want to have anything to do with that. This is a community. This is a community where we're okay to ask for help. And it's a community where we can say to ourselves, hey, and sometimes the help that I need isn't here. I just told somebody yesterday, I said, hey, I'm willing to talk to you about something that's going on, but I need to be clear, I'm not a therapist. I know a lot of good ones that I can connect you with who will help you because they've helped me. And let me tell you, if they can't help you just by talking, I'm sure they can help you with some drugs that will make a difference. And the only reason I'm telling you that is because I was willing to say, I need some help, and I don't think talking is going to be enough. We have to be willing to ask for help. So here's the thing. What are we going to do? What are we going to, how do we begin to address these things? Again, maybe it looks like, hey, I need to invest time in conversations with others. Maybe it is that I need to explore some spiritual practices like prayer or contemplation. Maybe it's that I know there's an injustice in the community that needs to be met, and I need some help fixing that breached wall. Those are, again, just some of the areas of life that could represent the great work that is before us. And if we spend some time today, if we spend some moments together, we could all think of habits to break. Maybe we could think of goals we need to accomplish. Maybe we could think of projects to complete, relationships to address. Wouldn't it be awesome if we had like a whiteboard and we could like write down all of these things, and we could talk about all the things that we know we need to get done. We could talk about the things that went undone this summer, and we could think about all the things that we could. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, then let's do it. Let's do just that. Let's take a couple minutes today. Let's go warm up our coffee. Let's go get some crayons. Let's come back. Do you know what's really cool about this? Check out your coloring sheet. Flip it over on the back. There is a magical thing on the back of your coloring sheet. You know what it is? A blank page. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take the top of that blank page, and I want you to write stuff to get done. I'm serious. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick up a crayon, a piece of paper. I want you to use your notes on your phone, whatever it is. I want you to begin to write down what you know that you cannot leave undone in this next season of life. That when we get to January 1st, you don't say, I had such a good plan. I had that relationship I wanted to work on. I had this money situation I wanted to take care of. I had this thing about my faith that I wanted to address, but I just ignored it because Ryan had this awesome sermon about doing it, but I didn't actually do anything with it. I can't let us do that. You also can't do this alone, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab a partner who can help you brainstorm and keep you accountable. You can pull chairs together as a family to work on this. You are also more than welcome to be alone, and if somebody looks at you, just look at them and go, I'm fine on my own. And you say, that's fine. You can be on your own, okay? So we're not forcing anybody, but there's something powerful that happens in some accountability. So if anybody needs a partner, you can find a partner. All right? So take some table time, and then we're going to close it up. Go, get some coffee, get crayons, go. I want to hear some talking, go. All right, all right, all right. Before this gets too out of hand, Randy was trying to dance with me back there. It was getting weird. So I don't know what your list looks like. I just want you to know that mine says paint. It just has paint, all different kinds of stuff. So Jill mostly helped me make this by painting the deck, the porch, paint the shed, paint the shutters, paint the... Does anybody want to come over and help me paint? You're more than welcome to. Now, as we close up, I have one more assignment for you. And I'm serious about this. I really, really want you to take that list. And I really want you to think about this because I know that it's more than things like painting. I know that all of us have way more going on than some surface things around the house. There are some relationships we really need to work on. Because the outside of the house doesn't matter nearly as much as what's going on inside the house. And that has everything to do with the relationships we have. It has to do with our faith. That the outside is not nearly as important as what's going on inside our lives. So I know that there is some heavy stuff. I know there are some big things going on. So if you didn't write those things down, you know what they are, and really, really begin to think about what to do with them. But the other assignment I want to have for you is this. Sometimes the distraction that we have in our lives isn't always super clear. Life isn't always about choosing between good and evil. Sometimes it's about choosing between good and better and best. And sometimes good things are going to come along, and you're going to look and you're going to say, well, no, I've got a big thing going on. I can't be distracted by that. And I want you to see in the story that this is probably what's going on. That Nehemiah probably thought it'd probably be a good idea to take a meeting with those guys. Again, maybe Nehemiah could have convinced them to provide more materials. Maybe they could have provided some labor. The people around Nehemiah were probably like, Nehemiah, go do that. That's a good thing. That will help us, won't it? And he says, that might be a good thing, but I've got a best thing to work on. So no, I can't do it. It looked like a fine thing on the surface, but he couldn't take the chance of coming down. As everyone was suggesting the good work that could be done, he focused on the great work that he needed to do. I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. And all kinds of things. I know this because I know this is true about me. All kinds of things will tell you, step off the ladder. It's not worth it. Things like fear. Has anybody stepped off a ladder because of fear? Because of uncertainty? Have you been afraid and you stepped off the ladder because you were uncertain about it? Sometimes we step off the ladder. We're going to get the help. We're going to get the thing done. And that's when the shame jumps in. And we give up and quit. And those are the obvious distractions. Sometimes it's opportunities, it's invitations, it's temptations that aren't as obvious. It's at those times we should be praying for discernment and for wisdom. There's a great passage, James 1:5. It says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God. What a simple response. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Maybe I should ask God. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do in this moment. Maybe I should go ask God. And he says in here, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Now, I'm not promising that is going to be something that's just going to pop up on a wall. God's not going to write it like Stranger Things out onto your wall and show you what the answer is. That's not how God works. But it might be through a conversation you have with somebody. It might be a nudging you feel. Oftentimes, wisdom is we know what the right thing to do is, but we're too stupid to do it. It's right there in front of us. And sometimes that prayer is telling us, you know what you're supposed to do. Go have the courage to get it done. If we're still looking for encouragement to stay on task, there are other places we see this thread running through Scripture. The Apostle Paul wrote to a church. He told them they were still developing their faith, and this is what he said to them. He said, not that I have already obtained this. It's not that I have already reached the goal, but I press on. I press on to lay hold of that which for Christ has laid hold of me. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider that I have laid hold of it, but one thing I have laid hold of, forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead. I'm going to keep going. I press on towards the goal, towards the prize of the heavenly call of God in Christ Jesus. In another place, even Jesus has to chastise one of his disciples when his disciple, Peter, tried to dissuade Jesus from going to Jerusalem to face the crowds and what he knew was going to come. And this is probably a good thing. Peter's like, Jesus, I want to save your life. Stop, don't go ahead. There's a good thing over here. And Jesus says, but it's not the best thing. So he turns to Peter and he says, get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me. Now, I do not suggest your family is looking at somebody when you're working on something and say, get behind me, Satan. It might be funny the first time, but make sure you laugh afterwards. But I do think we need to be clear like Nehemiah. I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. And why I think this is so important, this is what I want to close with. Guys, I know that every single person in this room has some amazing opportunities in front of you. I know you do. And I don't want you to end this season with regret. I don't want to end this next season of life with regret. I don't want to look back with my kids and say, where did the time go? Why didn't I invest in them? Why didn't I invest in this part of my life? Why didn't I take care of this thing? I don't want us to be people of regret. I also know that we have some amazing opportunities in front of our church this next season. I want us to imagine where we could be in 6 months from now if we all began to pull in the same direction. Can you even begin to fathom and imagine? But we can't do that, and this is my key word for this morning, without holy stubbornness. I want all of us to have some holy stubbornness, where we regularly ask ourselves, what is the great work that God has called me to do? Mary, I want you to start asking the board, what is the great work that God has called us to do? And I don't want us to lose focus from the great work that He has called you to do, the great work He's called me to do, the great work that He has called us to do. So what distractions are going to pull us away from that work? And I believe if we maintain a holy focus, that there isn't anything that God can't do through us. So whether it is that you need to say, get behind me, Satan, in those moments where you feel like you're jumping off the wall, or whether it's as simple as saying, I'm just doing a good work, I can't come down. Or whether it's just ignoring all the distractions and saying, I want none of that, I've got something good going on, I want to take care of this. Let's do that. Guys, I think if we do, and if we really pray that God would show us those places in our lives, and in our community, and in our church where we need to have some holy stubbornness, we'll not only change ourselves in this place, we will change this community, this city, and this world. I know it. Let's pray. God, we are so thankful for this story that reminds us of just this incredible call that we have before us to really lean in to doing great work. God, there is so much hurt in this world. There is so much injustice. There are so many things that are broken around us. It's not hard for us to look and to see the things that we can be involved in and making a difference in. As we do that, help us to also look in the mirror and see those places in our own lives that we need to do some work, and some places that we need to breach some walls, or we need to fill the breaches in those walls. Help us to have the courage and the strength. Help us to ignore the fear and the uncertainty and the shame, and to stand on those walls and to say, I'm doing a good work, and I'm not going to come down. Amen.